So it's a big day for the Conservatives because they are defending two key crucial seats. Not only are they today defending Wakefield, but they are also defending Tiverton down south. Now, Wakefield in particular becomes really, really important because part of Boris Johnson's appeal and part of the reason why a lot of MPs, probably in that, shall we say, recent no confidence vote, felt confident enough to keep Johnson, was that Johnson was sold to them and pitched to them as this is a guy who can win elections for the Conservative Party. This is what he can do. This is his job. Now, of course, potentially today, Boris Johnson is set to lose both of those elections, which would be the best outcome. And as we've talked about before, would result in the Tory nightmare scenario, leaving them with only about 73 MPs, which is not a lot. And remember, to at least win the next election, Boris Johnson has to retain all his red wall gains. If Boris Johnson loses those seats, he cannot form a government. So make no mistake, Wakefield, hugely important. And it's obviously, certainly today, hugely important. So I know this video is going to go out at like 6 o'clock. So if you are in Wakefield and you haven't gone out and voted yet, go out and vote. Like I say, the polls close today at 10. Make sure you vote Labour because that will be the way to do the most damage to Boris Johnson. And of course, down south, if you're down in Devon, in Tiverton and Houghton, go vote Lib Dem because, again, that is the biggest way to damage Boris Johnson. So make sure you have gone out and voted today. Please, please, please do go out and vote. So what would be the biggest disappointment to you? Because I'll tell you what today, not only today is Dan Jarvis out and about in Wakefield, Keir Starmer's up there, Angela Rayner's up there, Ed Miliband is up there. All the heavy hitters are up there in Wakefield today from Labour. But where's Boris Johnson been? Where's Rishi Sunak? Where's Michael Gove, Priti Patel, Liz Truss? All these, heavy hitters they could be sending to Wakefield to help support this Tory candidate, but they're not going. Why are they not going? Well, he made some, shall we say, anti-Brexit remarks. And as I've been telling you for quite some time, there is a massive ideological split in the Tory party. And there is the very moderate Tories who are like, yeah, Brexit's not a good idea. Leaving the single market and customs union wasn't a good idea. Brexit, overall, bit of a stupid idea. But the far right, the extremists, those free market fundamentalists who have flooded the Tory party, the UKIP infiltration, they're the ones who are in charge now. Or at least throwing their weight around. So when you would be expecting, when you've got these your fellow Red Wall MPs to at least, maybe come and support you to, get you elected because, hey, if your seat goes, maybe theirs could go in the next general election potentially as well. Maybe we did come and support you. Well, turns out, as we've said before, the cracks are starting to widen. And there will come a point where even Boris Johnson will not be able to hide them. And he himself will be swallowed in this gap. So let's go over to London Economic and find out what has been said and why at least many Tory MPs are not even going to bother going up to Wakefield to help out a fellow Tory MP get elected. So before we do that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help support the channel that way. Oh, and of course, there is the YouTube subscription button where if you click that and support the channel that way, you get all little like bells, whistles, emojis, and whatnot from that. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel. And always on to today's article. Here we go. So, this comes from London Economic, the title of Tory MPs refuse to campaign in Wakefield following candidates' anti-Brexit remarks. Conservative MPs are refusing to campaign in Wakefield following the remarks made by the local candidate in regards to Brexit. Nadim Alam will defend a narrow Tory majority in the Redwall seat next week after Imran Ahmad Khan resigned following the criminal conviction for sexual assault. He made the headlines this week after arguing that we can still trust MPs by using a very bizarre, and it was, I'll say, it should be very bizarre statements, but it was bizarre to say the least. Harold Shipman analogy. So yeah, he's made some bizarre comments to say the least, not just around Brexit. So what has he actually said? So, it continues. But it was the comments made back in 2016 that seemed to have really got his colleagues back up. Speaking to a local newspaper, Almond said, "I voted to leave and I regret the decision. All my friends who voted similarly are the same. The immigration issue has been overplayed and the most indefensible group are being targeted because we have darker skin color. What is especially worth noting is the majority of people being targeted, like me, were actually born in Britain. We were raised here and we know no other life." Shocking, a campaign with a very racist element, and yet people of color in the UK are now, who maybe were again, like, the candidate in Wakefield, who now voted that way and realized that they unleashed a torrent of racism. We brought this up back in 2016. We raised the how racist the Leave campaign was being, especially Nigel Farage's. You look at the UKIP infiltration into the Conservative Party. Of course, this was going to happen. And bear in mind, there are multiple reports and allegations of real and serious racism issues in the Conservative Party that Boris Johnson and others just refuse to take action on. So, yeah, I'm not surprised, because that's what we warned about would happen when Leave won. We sounded the alarm bells about that it was giving people almost the right to be racist again, or that's certainly how myself, when I saw that result, that's how I felt the result came in, almost as if it emboldened the racists to come out of the closet again. So I'm not surprised by his comments on that. Anyway, back to the article. He went on to tell the Asian Express that leaving the EU had triggered an increase in racist attacks, backing a second referendum at the same time. Reflecting on the recent attack in which he was the victim, he said, "The immigration issue was overplayed in Brexit and now people are being targeted. The term immigrant is even something that needs addressing. There are around 1 million Brits living in Spain. We call them expats. There is a negative connotation to the word immigration now." I'm not surprised. According to reports in the Daily Express, Conservative MPs are refusing to campaign in West Yorkshire after the comments have come to light. One senior Redwall Conservative MP said, "I was going to go to Wakefield to help out, even though it is an uphill task. But then I saw our candidate's Brexit comments, saying, I think it is very upsetting, and I told my whip that I would not be going as a result." So they are not even willing to go and defend a fellow Conservative who had anti-Brexit comments. This tells you what I've been saying for quite some time now about the civil war that is coming within the Conservative Party. The seeds are there. They have been planted. And it is coming. And when it happens, it is going to be very, very brutal. And I think it is going to show itself in the next leadership contest, because the next leadership contest is going to be a bare knuckle boxing match. It is going to get muddy, it is going to get messy, it is going to get very brutal almost very quickly from the offset. You saw last week from the potential Jeremy Hunt putting out his feelers for saying, I think I'm going to run if Johnson loses this no confidence vote, I'm going to run. And what happened? You saw Nadine Dorries take out her baseball bat and go after Jeremy Hunt. We saw some proper blue on blue action. That is going to be the next leadership contest. You saw the microcosm of what is to come. And you've got this going on right here in Wakefield, a crucial seat. And yet, I'm not going to go help him because of those anti-Brexit comments. Anyway, it continues. A former minister also added, I didn't see any point going to the by-elections. It's a waste of time and effort because we're going to lose anyway. When you have a candidate attacking core areas like Brexit, you make things even worse. One senior MP said that both selections for Wakefield showed that the candidates department for the Conservatives is not doing its job. One MP said, our candidates department is an absolute mess. They are more concerned with quotas than finding actual good Conservative candidates who support the things that the Conservatives are supposed to support. Again, this is also a huge problem because what's happened? You've had the UKIP infiltration, and because of this, the candidates that are now being fielded, and because because of that infiltration have pushed the party more right, they are now electing candidates that are even more far right than they are, and there's a huge mess in there. There's a huge mess. So it doesn't surprise me that this guy, slipped through the net with his anti-Brexit comments, because they were probably so desperate with this by-election, not to even bother checking. But yeah. So anyway, continues with these other comments saying, our candidate department is an absolute mess. They did not do a proper background check on Khan before he was parachuted into Wakefield. And now we have a candidate who makes a gaffe every time he opens his mouth and says that Brexit was built on lies. If this wasn't an isolated problem, it would be unfortunate. But we keep seeing these horrendous selections all over the country. And that is because the Tory party has not expanded their crop of MPs, because they won such a big election victory in 2019. They had to very quickly expand and bring in all these new people in seats where normally they wouldn't win before. So you'd put these people out there thinking, well, he's not going to win in this red wall seat or in this Wakefield, because that's a Labour safe seat, so there's no chance of them winning. So we'll just put them there. But oh no, they've won. Now they've actually got to start seriously fielding good, candidates again. But because they have been unable to go out to these places to get those good candidates in, the vetting process has become a complete mess. And those comments by those Tory MPs refusing to go and help a fellow, red wall Tory MP, not only is the next leadership election going to be interesting, but I'll tell you what, the next general election victory up here in the red wall is going to be very, very interesting. So as always, like I say, good luck to the candidates, especially the sort of Labour candidate in Wakefield, and of course the Lib Dem candidate down south in Devon, in Tiverton. Good luck to them. Like I say, I hope they win. We will be doing I don't know yet if I'm going to do a in up all night stream. Maybe I might stream for a bit tonight. We'll see. But almost certainly we will be doing a good morning walk tomorrow morning to report on the after effects of what happened, because almost certainly these two by-elections are going to cause some serious waves. So as always, Thank you very much for watching, and of course, of course, when we put my teeth back in, and of course, we'll see you all next time.